My name is Bernice, and this is my podcast, Speak Up. Shout out to my new listeners out there. For those of you that don't know, the mission statement for this podcast is we use our voices to motivate people to overcome life challenges through self love and respect. This is the place for self love and respect. I missed you guys. It feels so good to be back. I hope you guys' 2026 is going great so far. I had to take a little mini reset, but I'm back, energized, ready for new interviews, new collabs, to share my story with you guys, and just to release new content. Before we get started, shout out to my new amazing sponsor, Samuel Patrick Photography. You're unique, you're qualified, and you're ready for your next chapter. Stand out and make a long lasting impression with professional photography. Samuel Patrick will help you have the impact you deserve while staying true to your values and vision. Book your discovery call today at www.samuelpatrick.photography. So shout out to Samuel Patrick. I'm so excited for this collab. He takes amazing photos and has an amazing catalog. So please tap in and tell him that SpeakUpJV sent you. But yeah, you guys, so as I mentioned before, I took a nice mini reset, and I'm back. And I'm just ready to bring some content in today. So, today's episode is titled On Time. I thought it was very important to talk about a topic like this because, how are you late to your own life? I think, obviously with different things going on in the world, especially like different challenges, things we're seeing in the news and things like that, where things sometimes it's easy to feel like you're behind or you're missing something, or the train, you missed the train or something like that. But honestly, no. In this period that I took to kind of like get myself together, like through some personal challenges I was going through, it really gave me time to reflect and know that things are falling the way it's supposed to in its alignment. So, I'm just excited to be back today and just like really speaking to you guys. Let's get into the accept segment. So today's accept question, if you're out there listening, please comment. I always go back and read the comments. I love to hear from you guys. Is how do you stay grounded? Me personally, I like to pause and take a deep breath. I think sometimes it's easy for us to get anxious and think things should be a certain way when it ends up a different way, and we get all over the place. And honestly, for me, just pausing, taking a deep breath, that helps me stay grounded and gives me that reminder that I need to know that I'm on the right track and to keep pushing forward. And I feel like 2025 was a really challenging year for me, and in a good and bad way. I feel like, obviously I could look at the challenges like dealing with grief, dealing with job transitions and things like that, going through a period of, refinding myself all over again, taking a mini reset. It was easy to feel like, it was easy to be all over the place, to want to live in chaos mentally. And I just had to remind myself to stay grounded, to trust into the Lord, and it brought me back to that place of like, that keep my faith up, to keep pushing forward and know that I'm not late to anything. I grew up very ambitious. Like I was one of those people always like kind of like overachieving, always striving for better. And I think sometimes when you're caught up in those, when you have that type of mindset, when life throws you certain curveballs where you don't have the control, to come out of it as fast as you expected, it's hard to lose a grip, And last year really taught me to release control, focus on other areas of my life and grow within, to where I am recharged and I can like chase my passions and dreams and approach people on full versus like being on E, pouring from an empty cup. I think too, when you're a natural giver, a natural ambitious person, you always want to be there for other people. And the last year going into this year really taught me I needed to be there for myself. And I am so grateful I took the time and I listened to that instinct. I listened to the Lord in my ear to take that mental clarity, that mental reset, because where I'm at right now, the way I feel mentally, spiritually, physically, it's a way different feeling. And I feel like I am like charged up and ready to go after what I want with a clear mind, if that makes sense. So I would love to hear how y'all stay grounded. That's the way that has helped me. Obviously, prayer as well is a big one for me. And I've been learning the importance of taking my time. Things ain't got to happen so fast. On time is literally on time. And I don't know, like that's just what has helped me. But yeah, let's get into the tweet up segment. Those of you on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, I still call it Twitter. I have a tweet that I tweeted this week that goes with today's episode. Today's tweet up is, "You're not late in alignment." So I want you to y'all to really sit with that. You're not late in alignment, and I think it's easy to feel like we're late when a sudden detour comes. Just like when we're on our way to somewhere and we see a detour, we have to go a whole nother way. It's irritating. Don't get me wrong. When it's like, oh, I gotta take this other turn, but we don't know what we were being protected from by taking that detour. And I think sometimes, when we have certain plans for ourselves, right? We have a checklist. We're going through it. Everything's looking good. Blah blah blah. When there's like a boulder, literally a wall placed in front of it, we don't understand, right? But I feel like life's like a maze. Like when you're going through that maze and you hit that wall, what do? You just find the other way. It doesn't mean the maze ain't going to be completed. It's just going to be in the right timing when it's supposed to. And I think we have to look at life that way. Just because that wall is there doesn't mean you're not eventually going to get to the other side of the wall. It's just a different path that you got to take, and that's just not the door that you have to go through. I've been learning the beauty of, it's okay if certain doors are shut. That wasn't a door that was meant to be open, because you know what? God may got a golden door that's unlocked for me in a different hallway. And it's okay to trust that. That's literally little things that have been helping me, like really trusting that alignment, trusting that divine timing. Oh, because and it's challenging. It really is. But then I feel like when you get to the other side of the challenge and you look back, it makes you happy that you didn't quit, you didn't give up, and that you didn't rush and go the way that you thought you should have went. Have y'all ever like kind of went through something, right? And it didn't go the way that you expected it to go. You had to take a different way to get to that goal. And then you ended up finishing, and then you realized the way that you had planned to take actually was a broken road anyway. I mean, I've dodged many bullets like that looking through, and I'm like, wow, if I would have took that path, the bridge would have broke right there. I'm so grateful this is the path that I ended up taking. I saw a post online that was saying, you can't sit there and say, oh, I want to make more money, I want to do this, I want to do that, and don't expect the current life that you have to change. You have to go through some type of change to go out to be able to manifest those things that you're going after. So if you're saying, yeah, I want to make more money, don't be surprised if that job changes. Something happens with the job, or you're like, I want to live in a bigger house. Something happens with where you're living. Because in the day, that change has to happen for it to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I feel like, especially when you're in elevation, you're hitting new heights you've never been to before. It just looks different. The air feels different. The people in those different floors look different. And your whole environment may change. When I tell you guys, I would say 2024 to 2025, my life dismantled in a whole different way, and actually for the better. In the time, it felt scary. It felt like, what is going on here? I was confused. I was finding different feelings. Still showing up for others. Doing my best, pouring to myself. But when I look at now, a lot of those things had to come apart for me to be where I'm at right now, and be able to even be on here talking to you guys. And honestly, I look back, I don't regret nothing. Obviously, in the moment, it feels differently. But when you be patient with yourself, you don't give up, you give it to the Lord, you definitely see a change happen. And I'm grateful that I held on during those times, even those hard days, confided with the right people, knew who my village was. And I want to say that too. Know who your village is. Be a part of being on time is showing up with the right people, because hanging out with the wrong people, being with the wrong environment can actually make you late to where you're going, because they're not even supposed to be a part of the rest of your journey. And that will cause a delay. And, like Erica Badu said, pack light. Sometimes you got to pack lighter. You're carrying way too much. You're trying to go up to this next level, and you're holding all this stuff, trying to climb up a mountain, when you got to drop some of that stuff so it can make it easier for you to climb. And that's something I definitely had to learn. Like, my whole environment had to change, my day to day, jobs, all kind of stuff. Like, it was just one of those transformative years. And I know I'm still in still in it. A lot of transformation is still occurring, but for the better, for the better. And I think, when you just hold on, you'll see the results slowly coming in, and you'll be happy that you stood 10 toes down with yourself, kept that faith in yourself, and went after it. And, I think too, like, even when we're chasing a passion, right? You have a 9 to 5, you have other things that you attend to, but you have something that's burning in you to go after a certain purpose. It's okay to take those breaks in between to tend to other things in your life. because that's just one part of your passion is just a part of you, right? You still have other parts, and it's okay to pour into those other things and realize what parts of you still need that attention so you can give your all to whatever it is you're going after. Because trying to chase a passion on E ain't it. I've tried it, y'all. It's not it. So what do you have to work on? What do you have to pour into? So when you are going after what you're going after, you actually feel energized. You can think clear. What I learned is clarity, peace, and clarity go hand in hand, and it's definitely needed. Like you have to have both to go after whatever it is that you're going after. So that is something I definitely had to learn the hard way. But you know what? Now that the cup is full, it's easier to pour. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. But you guys, it is now time for the life up. The life up segment is when I take the topic and I relate it to a problem in today's world. So today's life up is going after less than what God intended for you. This is a huge one. I say that because sometimes things don't work out for us because honestly, what we're chasing is actually smaller than what God intended. This is quote I kind of like made with myself is if I'm over here chasing a dozen roses, but the whole time God has a whole building full of roses intended for me, everything that's going toward those roses isn't even going to work out because that's not even the blessing that's for me. Don't play yourself. I think sometimes we limit ourselves, obviously, to play it safe, because we want to put ourselves out there and all these different things. But honestly, you're shorthanding yourself when you're actually intended and created to go after more. And and I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, no more playing safe, standing behind the wall, little things like that, because there's actually way more out there for me. And am I really going after my fullest potential? And I think we have to ask ourselves that when it comes to our goals and our dreams. And how do we fix that? We fix that by really tapping in with ourselves and asking ourselves, are we really doing the best that we can with what we got? And are we actually, are we moving in fear or are we moving in faith? And fear will trick you, especially when you're listening to no sayers or there's people in your ear, questioning what you're doing or downplaying what you got going on. Sometimes you just have to mute that noise because when certain people are in your ear, they will actually allow you to downplay yourself and go after the shorthand. When it's like they say, aim for the sky, land in the clouds. It's like at least I know I aimed up there, and if I landed a little lower, I was aiming high at the end of the day. I rather know I went for my fullest potential versus just a little bit. And I think sometimes, obviously there's moments we have to play small because life circumstances or things happen and you're literally doing the best that you can. And there's moments where it's like you're kind of coming out of that stage and then it's like, okay, now it's time for me to really put the gas on. Like I feel like with me last year, I didn't feel like I had to play small, right? And it was uncomfortable for me, and I think now I'm in a space where, okay, you're doing a lot better, enough with the playing small, and I think sometimes we have to have those pep talks with ourselves and know, are we really pushing ourselves to our fullest potential? And even the back to environment, is your environment pushing you to your fullest potential? Are they pushing you to go up and do more, or are they allowing you to stay stagnant? And, like I like to motivate others, and okay, sometimes yeah, we have to just motivate and pour into ourselves. So that's the life book for today. But you guys, I know you guys missed this one. It is now time for the drink up water segment. So if you're out there listening, please drink some water. Look, I hope y'all been drinking water. I know I ain't did no water segment. I ain't been back with a SpeakUpJV episode, so I hope I'm holding y'all accountable. Today's drink up water fact for today is water makes the body fluids, sweat, tears, and urine, according to Mayo Clinic. Drink your water, okay? Water is just so good for you. Cleans out your system, replenishes everything. Drink your water. It is so essential to different parts of your body, not just thirst. So that's the drink up water fact, the first one of 2026 for me. So yeah, and shout out to We Don't Make the Rules podcast. They actually been doing some water facts on their podcast lately and shouting me out. So shout out to the love. I'm glad y'all all sharing that. Look, drink your water. Now back to the episode. So yeah, we gonna like I said, I really when I named this episode on time, it was very important to me because I think when I was going through that period, the rough patch, I was really questioning myself, like, dang, am I late to something? Am I missing out on something because this and that? And I'm grateful for my circle, my environment, my village, because I have some amazing people in my village who are really speaking that life to me when I needed it the most, reminding me that I'm where I'm supposed to be. Even with God, like I've had conversations with the Lord and certain prayers that were answered and showing me that I am on the right path. I'm meeting the right people at the right time. And you got to have that faith that you are on time. And like I said in the beginning of the episode, you cannot be late to your own life. And, obviously we got social media, we're seeing people on their chapter 20, you're in your chapter 2. And, you really just have to stay in your lane, keep your head forward and do what's best for you. Do what you can do in your own capacity. That's the best way to kind of like get through and get through everything is knowing that you just cannot be late, especially when it is in God's timing and that knowing that God's timing works different. I actually just did a motivation message on that a couple of weeks ago about the alignment and knowing that you are on time. So that's just something I want to share, but it is now time for the show up segment. This is the show up segment. If you're out there listening, how did you show up for yourself this week? Please comment. I would love to go back and read the comments and see how did y'all show up for yourself this week. How did I show up for myself this week? Ooh. You know what? I showed up for myself this week by being present with myself. And I say that as in, really listening to what I need. How can I pour into myself? Really tapping in. Like if I felt like having a slower day, having a slower day. If I felt like having a day dressing up, going out, just going with the vibe, that's the kind of day that I had. And I feel like that made me happy. That made me feel very complete within my day, like knowing that I listened to my mind, my body, and did what I wanted to do and was able to just enjoy my week. So that's how I showed up for myself this week. But yeah, I would love to go back and comment. I mean, read the comments and see how did you guys show up for yourself this week. And a part of being on time is showing up for yourself. And showing up can look differently. I think when you hear the term showing up for yourself, it means like you did a million things, all these things. Sometimes showing up is pausing, is just listening to the Lord, you know, um, taking a slow day, admitting you need help, all those things. Like, I think we're taught sometimes, like, we got to be strong by the time when we can't show vulnerability. And apart, I had to learn that, even in moments of vulnerability, showing up for myself was admitting that I'm not okay, was seeking my village, talking to the right people, praying, just admitting it out loud, it's okay to not be okay. I want to give that reminder to somebody out there who feels like they need to hold together, even with it being February and feeling like, ooh, the new year came. I have all these goals. And, if you're having a slow start to your year, that's fine too, because if your body's calling on it or there's certain circumstances that are happening, listen to that. You get the most done when you're actually energized, you're being kind to yourself, and you feel equipped for it versus forcing yourself to do something that you don't even have the capacity to do. There's seasons where we're called to be there for others, and there's seasons when we're called to really be there for ourselves. And if you're having one of those years where I really got to pour into myself, I'm here to say it is okay to do that, because I'm gonna be real. When you pour into yourself and you feel 100%, you actually have more ammunition to be there for others and do what you're called to do. Especially to the givers out there. I know it's hard when you're a natural giver, natural lover, and you want to be there for everybody. But it's actually more rewarding when you have the capacity to give it, if that makes sense. So that's just a reminder, something that I really want to say out there. So remember, you are on time. But it is now time for the wrap up segment. Self love. Self love is loving yourself enough to take your time, to know that you are on time, even with taking your time. What are we rushing for? Honestly, rushing actually allows you to get things done in a sloppy way. You're getting it done, but was it your best? And you actually have better content. To the content creators out there, I mean, I know y'all can attest to this. And when you really take your time and edit a video, you take your time thinking about what you're gonna say, the content actually comes out better than some rush content that you just did real quick. So I'm learning the beauty of that. Like, I used to do my motivational messages that I do weekly. I used to just do them in the car, right? Don't get me wrong, the message got a part, I got a lot of engagement from it. But I was like, it's rush content. I'm in my car making this quick video on my way to somewhere, which is cool. I got my message out, but I have time to set up a camera, really talk, and give a nice, thought out message and really elaborate more versus some rush message when someone's probably really needed to hear that message and I'm not even giving them the full message because I'm too busy trying to rush to get something out for content. So it's just those little things like that. So remember, you guys are on time. Take your time and it all will work out and fall into place. I love you guys, and I'm this is nice, sweet, and short episode for today. But I have some amazing interviews coming soon and different events, so be on the lookout. Make sure you tell your friends to follow at SpeakUpJV on all platforms. And yeah, tell them this is a place for self-love and inner peace. And before I go, quick shout out again to my amazing sponsor, Samuel Patrick. You're unique, you're qualified, and you're ready for your next chapter. Stand out and make a long-lasting impression with professional photography. Samuel Patrick will help you have the impact you deserve while staying true to your values and vision. Book your discovery call today at www.samuelpatrick.photography. So make sure y'all tap in. I love you guys. I'll be back soon with a new episode. Take care. Enjoy the rest of y'all February.